Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to discuss a poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley named Ozymandias. In the next few minutes, we'll read the poem line by line, unpack its biggest themes, learn about the poet who wrote it, and break down its unusual form. This video is also available for you in Hindi, so please check that out as well. Let's get into it. Line 1. The speaker, who is essentially Shelley himself or a narrator very close to him, tells us he met a traveler from an antique land. That phrase immediately distances us from the events. We are not seeing this firsthand, we are hearing a second hand account of something ancient. Lines 2 and 3. The traveler describes two vast and trunkless legs of stone standing in the desert. Notice there is no body, no torso, just legs. The statue is already broken before we even get a full picture of it. Lines 3 and 4. Near the legs, half sunk into the sand, lies a shattered visage, a broken face. It's sinking into the very desert that surrounds it, being slowly swallowed by time and nature. Lines 4 and 5. The face still has a frown, a wrinkled lip, and a sneer of cold command. Even shattered, the expression survives, and it is not a kind expression. It's contemptuous, arrogant, and the look of a man used to being obeyed. Line 5 to 8. Here Shelley shifts to praising the sculptor. The artist well those passions read, meaning he understood the king's true character and managed to stamp those emotions onto stone so vividly that they yet survive, long after the king himself is gone. Line 8 is especially clever. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. The sculptor's hand mocked, meaning both imitated and ridiculed the king's expressions, while the king's heart fed those same passions, his ego and his cruelty. Lines 9 to 11. Now we get to the pedestal, the base of the statue, where an inscription survives. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. This was meant to be a boast, directed at other rulers, them to compare their achievements to his. Lines 12 to 14. And then comes the gut punch. Nothing besides remains. There are no works left to look at, just decay, just a colossal wreck. And the poem ends on an image of total emptiness. The lone and level sand stretch far away. No monuments, no empire, no king. Just endless flat sand, indifferent to everything that came before it. Major themes. Now let's talk about why this poem still matters 200 years later. Theme 1. The inevitable decay of power. This is the poem's central argument. Ozymandias built a monument specifically to defy time, to make rival kings tremble. Instead, that monument has become proof of exactly the opposite, that no power, no matter how absolute it seems, survives forever. The command, look on my works ye mighty, and despair, is devastatingly ironic, because there is nothing left to look at. The boast has outlived its own subject, and in doing so, has turned into self-mockery. Theme 2. Hubris and self-deception. Sneer of cold command tells us everything about who Ozymandias was as a person. Arrogant, contemptuous, convinced of his own permanence. He couldn't imagine a future where his empire didn't exist. That's the essence of hubris, a complete failure to imagine your own limits. Theme 3. Art versus power. Here's something subtle. The sculptor outlasts the king. The statue preserves the artist's perception of Ozymandias' cruelty far more effectively than it preserves Ozymandias' actual glory. Art commissioned to celebrate a tyrant ends up exposing him instead. That's a quietly radical idea, and Shelley, who was deeply anti-monarchist, clearly intended it. Theme 4. Nature's sublime indifference. The final image of lone and level sands isn't dramatic. It's flat, silent, and very total. The desert doesn't punish Ozymandias or celebrate his fall. It simply does not care. That indifference is more powerful than any active destruction could be, because it reminds us that nature operates on a time scale where human empires are barely a footnote. Theme 5. Layers of storytelling. Notice how distant we are from the actual event. The poet hears about it from a traveler who says a broken statue, which itself is a damaged copy of a man who lived 1,000 years earlier. By the time the story reaches us, almost nothing of the real Ozymandias is left. Just fragments, sand, and a few words on a slab of stone. Now let us briefly discuss about the author. So who wrote this? Percy Bysshe Shelley was born in 1792 in Sussex, England, and became one of the major poets of English Romantic movement alongside Lord Byron and John Keats. Shelley was famous and notorious for his radical politics. He was expelled from Oxford for writing a pamphlet defending atheism. He eloped twice, clashed constantly with his wealthy family, and spent much of his life as an outsider to British society, eventually settling in Italy. He wrote Ozymandias in 1817 as part of a friendly competition with his friend Horace Smith. Both poets wrote sonnets inspired by news of a massive Egyptian statue fragment of Ramses II being shipped to the British Museum. Shelley's version was published first in January 18, and it has completely overshadowed Smith's poem in the centuries since. Shelley died young at just 29, drowning in a boating accident off the coast of Italy in 1822, but his reputation as one of the great romantic poets has only grown since. Finally, let's talk about structure. Ozymandias is a sonnet, 14 lines of poetry, but it's an unusual one. Traditional sonnets follow either a strict Petrarchan rhyme scheme or a Shakespearean one. Shelley does neither. His rhyme scheme is irregular, blending elements of both traditions and breaking from them. Many scholars read this as deliberate. Shelley is using a poetic form to talk about the collapse of order and tradition. The poem also uses heavy enjambment, sentences that run past the end of a line without pausing, which mirrors the broken, fragmented nature of the statue itself. And there's a striking seizure in line 3, marked by that ellipsis after desert, which acts like a visual crack in the poem, just like the crack running through the statue. So that's Ozymandias, a 14-line poem about a forgotten king that has outlived almost every empire that's risen and fallen since it was written. If you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. It is available for you in Hindi as well, so please take a look at that as well. We'll see you again in the next one.